It's Sunday night. We're live. It's the red, the white, the blue football therapy session. And do you know something? I can actually just not bother with the show tonight and just say we're going to talk about baseball instead, because that'd be a far better idea than talking about having Liverpool this afternoon from my perspective, but not from these two. So, Stephen, come on, you and Charlie, come on, have it. Come and have your moment.
Are you ready, John? Because I can see what Charlie's doing backstage here, right? Are you
ready? Oh, dear me.
Charlie's
hello, fellas. How you doing?
Hi, John. And to be honest with you, because I see you as such a good friend, I don't want to gloat too much, you know. So
thank you. I'll let you do it. Doesn't matter.
No, I'm not going to do that. I'll let Charlie do that because Charlie's he's on the other side of the Atlantic to us. So
Charlie's been trying to get a reaction out of me all weekend in the text chat that we've had, and I've just ignored him all weekend. So I'm on one of them, you see.
I've been, as you can tell from my Twitter messages to you guys this afternoon, I wasn't there was nothing to gloat about. I was very upset about especially that first half with the Liverpool Everton game, man. I'm glad my wife and my daughter are out doing stuff because I was livid. I mean, there's so many poor Liverpool players that first half. I was very frustrated. So I'm not going to gloat about anything. I think Everton did what they did a good job, especially the first half. They held us to 0, and they had us 0-0, exactly what they wanted, what they needed. But I was pretty upset the first half of this game, just to say that right off the front.
Me and you, Charlie, before I get into that conversation with you, but me and you, Charlie and John, we've got the usual support from the great Stacey and the great Sarah there, you know.
Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate them watching. Glad they do.
Yeah. I'm with you, Charlie. I'm with you. I think in that first half, I don't think it was so much Liverpool being poor, but Everton being right on it. Right on it. They were, and I was with you in the comment where you were talking about Keita and Thiago not being there. I was more surprised with Thiago than I was with Keita, even though Keita's played a lot better in the recent weeks. You know, but I just felt the balance wasn't right in midfield with the three guys. It just wasn't right.
Definitely. Thiago, when he's slow, he's very, very dangerous when he's slow. He's dangerous for the Liverpool side because sometimes I don't know if it's arrogance or whatnot, but he holds on to that ball way too long. And then how many times did they take the ball away from him today, or they forced a bad pass, or they were all over him, and rightfully so. He did not have any type of urgency today whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm with you, Charlie. I think when Thiago first come over, he's played in the Spanish league, he played in the German league, where the Spanish league is much slower than the Premier League. The German league is faster than the Spanish league, but it's still a lot slower than the Premier League. I was actually on one of the shots, John, you will have seen it as well in the warm-ups with the Sky was talking about Thiago in the build-up, and you were watching him, and he had the cone, one of the cones on the floor, and what he was practicing, looking around and getting the ball and reacting quick. I think that's one thing he's starting to learn in his game, particularly in the Premier League, is you've got to get the ball. You haven't got the time to look around yet, like you did in the Spanish league and the German league. That's how you play. That's what you're brought in for, is to look around and find them gaps. That's what he's brought in for. He wasn't brought in to be the quick 1-2 kind of person. He was there to be the quick thinking and the clever passer that he is. What he's having to learn is to do it at a much faster pace. So I took, when the build up to the match, and I've seen him over the last few games where he's really improved on that, and what he was actually training at when the camera was on it was about him. He's got this cone must have been mimicking someone being on his back. That's what it must have been. And he's looking round and then passing straight and doing his little turns. He was doing his 2 or 3, 4 different types of turns that he does, and he was doing it at speed. But I'm with you, Charlie. I think in the first half he was really slow, lethargic doing that. I don't know whether he trained too much in the build-up to doing that because he was expecting it so much more than Everton's team. Which,
If I could say something else though, about that game, just straight off the top here. You guys have a really good player in Gordon on Everton. That guy, he is fast, he is motivated, and he is. They should be building around him probably for the future.
And I think as well, Charlie, he's the type of player I would like to think, because he's come through the youth system, that irrespective of where we finish at the end of the season, he will stay and he will be that pivotal point from which we can actually build a team moving forward. Out of interest. So this is purely, I'm not playing devil's advocate at all, because I felt the coverage this afternoon in the UK was shocking. I thought the Sky coverage was poor. Martin Tyler and Jamie Carragher together as a team, the word impartial doesn't even sort of pass me lips.
No, it doesn't.
And they didn't do a good job of actually portraying the full picture of the game. But that's another issue. But there were two incidents with Anthony Gordon, and I like I say, I like the lad. I think he's lightning quick, which is, it sets a lot of defenders on edge. I thought there was two opportunities today where there was a potential penalty that could have been awarded against your team, which, as statistics have it, I don't think it doesn't happen very often.
Penalties against our team?
Yeah, penalties against Liverpool they just seem to be non-existent at the minute.
Conspiracy theory here, John.
Not at all. No, like I say, you wouldn't catch me ever dreaming of being a conspiracy theorist in any way, shape, or form. But I'll come back to that in a minute with Stuart Atwell. But just out of interest.
I want to have the conversation, but I'm with you on it. I know where you're going, but I think me and you are on the same page. Yeah, go
on. Do you think it was a penalty, Stephen?
The first one, no.
Yeah. Okay.
The second Alexander Arnold.
Yeah. Second one, Stonewall penalty.
Yeah.
For me, you don't stand on someone's foot in the penalty area and barge into them in the second one like they did with Gordon in the second half, and not get a penalty. But I've got to side with what I'm with you on the commentary side on the UK, John, with Sky, and I think Jamie Carragher is biased towards Liverpool, and I don't think Martin Tyler either is biased against his hatred for Liverpool.
Yeah.
But it's one thing in that game where I agreed with all of them, where he said, "No, it's a penalty, Dan. It's a penalty. There's no way in my mind." And what he said as well was, I think if you cast your mind back, John, he said, if it wasn't for the first half incident, and if you actually slow the incident down the first half, you can actually see contact, so I can get that.
Mm-hmm.
But in the actual normal speed of it, it did look like a blatant dive. So
it's a strange one, because actually I've been away in Greece for the past week, and I've actually been been fortunate, because I've actually been able to watch beIN Sports for a lot of their coverage, which is Richard Keys, Andy Gray, the old Sky team and stuff like that. Now, Richard Keys, as part of his job, presenting for beIN Sports for whoever downloads that from whatever streaming service, and I think they get it. It's part of a package in Greece. Say no more. But he got in touch with the referees. Was it PGMOL, whatever, match officials bunch anyway, and actually asked the question of them, why was that not given as a penalty? And he got a reply, which he was able to beIN Sports subscribers, and actually I think he did it on Twitter as well. Whereby they said that if it had been actually handed across to VAR, that they should have awarded a penalty, but they didn't. And it wasn't flagged up. It makes a farce of having the technology.
You make a good point. So sorry to jump in there, John. You make a very good point, because me and Sarah was talking about this during the game.
Yeah.
Right? That second one, right? And they were talking, and the reason it come up with the conversation between me and my wife was they were talking at the end of the game. Graham Souness was talking with Jamie Carragher and I think it was Kevin Campbell at the end.
Yeah.
And he was talking, well, if Anthony Gordon, well, I don't know, is his name Anthony Gordon? Gordon at the start. So that first half incident where we're going, he's planted a seed in the referee's mind.
Yeah.
He's planted the seed in the VAR referee's mind. No, he hasn't. Yeah. So isn't that making a mockery of what VAR is all about? Shouldn't they be coming into taking all that out the game and taking, hey, Mr. Referee, you've made the mistake there. We think it's a penalty. Because I don't think any ardent, blinded and blinkered Liverpool fan would have been able to argue that wasn't a penalty. I really don't, because it was a penalty. There's no
just to widen it out, and I would, I love VAR. I think it's a much better system because actually they are getting so many more things correct than they were previously. There was an incident in the Arsenal game yesterday where an Arsenal defender basically hooked the ball. He fell over, hooked the ball, and the referee said play on. And actually, if VAR is going to be used to the degree at which it is in other countries, and it's used very efficiently in other countries, I think the one issue that they've got is the fact that you've got to allow incidents to actually be looked at from afar, and then just have a word with the ref. Go and have a look at it. And I love that comment. That's my son. So
yeah, Josh, I think I got that with your Josh is saying, John. As a referee himself, any decision you give in the game shouldn't influence the later decisions. I'm dead with you on that. It shouldn't. No, you're dead right. And what I was getting at there, Josh, is the commentary at the end of the game where the pundits were trying to make an excuse for the referee. But what they were forgetting was, well, hang on a minute, there's the VAR down in Stockley Park, wherever they are, and they're supposed to be able to eradicate this. And yes, you're dead right. They shouldn't be doing, but humans are humans. They will make mistakes, and that's what Stockley Park is there for, to stop their mistakes happening. For me, when you're looking at something now, let's take my biased. I'm going to take the flag out the picture here. Right? If I was to take this and put myself in your guys' shoes as an Everton fan, and you're fighting for your survival, you see Burnley win early in the day. They're in a real hot fight now. For me, if I was an Everton fan, I would be absolutely livid because it was 0-0 at that point. It was 0-0, and they're the kind of decisions that can go against you. Now, before VAR come out, I know I'm rambling on a minute, but before VAR come in, I was a big advocate of it for this reason, because teams go down, teams can be saved, teams can win titles and lose titles simply because of these decisions that go wrong. There's nothing wrong with the referee making a mistake because it's going to happen. They're seeing it in real time, and they haven't got the ability to go back to replays and play it slow. Where VAR does, they have that ability, so they've given themselves that ability and still missed it. So while as me as a Liverpool fan, we've benefited from that, I think football is lost in the wider sense.
That's a really. I think that's a fantastic point, Stephen. And I don't want to harp on about it because it's actually, the game itself was won by 2 Liverpool goals, and you can't complain about that. I think as well. I'll go back to something I said a number of weeks ago in the game that when Alan was sent off for Everton, and he made a. I think I described it at the time as a tackle that Liverpool Man City make just 10 a penny, and it gets a yellow at best, wrong part of the pitch and all that. He got straight red. And over the past couple of weeks, being able to watch games sort of live and see similar challenges, particularly in the FA Cup. The FA Cup semi-final, there was one, and it was a City player, and we turned around to each other and we sat in the pub watching the game, and we just said, that's it. That's an identical challenge that Alan got sent off for because it was a City player, yellow card. And again, I think today you're seeing this thing where it appears that teams at the top, as you did yesterday, and fair dues, it was against Man United, so they've had more than their fair share of good luck with their refereeing decisions across time. But Arsenal got away with a couple yesterday, and I think it's got to be more consistent. It's got to be more. It's got to be better. That's all I'm going to say. It's got to be better. I'm going to say. I'm just glad I'm able to talk because I've been absolutely down in the dumps today. From when I woke up, I've been like a bear with a sore head, and I was coming on here tonight, and I just thought, this is my worst case scenario played out today. I wasn't expecting much from the Liverpool game. To be honest, 2-0, I'll take it. I was expecting 5, 6, 7, given the way that you guys have played the past couple of weeks, because I think you've been exceptional, particularly the lad Diaz. I just think he is just such a fantastic football player. But the Burnley game today it just really sort of hit home of just we're up the creek, and I don't even think we've got a paddle anymore.
Yeah, that's
a sad state of affairs,
Josh has put a comment in there for like stage, and Josh, you're spot on, mate. These have big consequences. They really do. They really, really do, and that's why, even as a Liverpool fan, I'm disappointed with the decision today because
it's
all losers. The game
it now shouldn't happen. Even putting it across to you, Charlie, I think as well, this is where I think the NFL scenario works so well because it is completely transparent. From this side of the Atlantic, I've not heard of match officials when they go to the video replay. There doesn't appear to be that much where fans are turning around saying, "Oh, the match officials are favouring." For example, the Patriots, or they're favouring the Bucks, or they're favouring the big team. It appears to be completely transparent. Like it or not, they go by the rule book, and I think that's the bit I'm seeking with VAR in certainly in the Premier League.
Yeah, there needs to be consistency, but to your point about them, it seems like I'm just wondering if there is a bias from refs or whatnot towards specific teams, or if it's specific placements and specific races going on, because we have the top two, right? Liverpool just happened to be Liverpool and Man City, whereas before those games, they're saying, okay, the rest are getting together saying, okay, don't make any big stupid mistakes that are going to cost someone the league or someone the title. And on the other end, the same thing with Everton and Burnley and whatnot doing that. But you also have the race that's for the top four as well with the Arsenal stuff. So it's almost like they're chicken to make any big mistakes. And when you're afraid of making big mistakes, that's when you make big mistakes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
that's a great way of looking at it. Yeah, appreciate that. That's
I think Charlie makes a good point there. Is it right? We're seeing the mistakes, but are they intentional? Are the intentional mistakes? Is it pure bias? Is it like that unconscious bias stuff going on? You know what I mean? I know you're just trying to rein me in because I'm trying to keep myself in, John. Because obviously, we're having a great season, and I do feel for where you are at the minute. You ended in the bottom three. I'm going to add.
Right. So I share a WhatsApp group with my entire family, who were all Blues, cousins, uncles, aunts, and all that.
Your whole family's Blue.
Yeah.
You must be the only family from Merseyside.
There's my goddaughter married a Liverpool fan, and that was just like, and poor Dave, he's just like. He's the one that he's the sore thumb. However, I'm trying to find the message here because there we go. 4:47. My cousin Turner. Atwell will win this for the red side. There you go.
We know what the S is followed by the HITE. Is it?
Yeah. Followed by a reply from my cousin in America who said Atwell is a total. I can't repeat the word on YouTube. And you know what you're thinking, and that was before all the shenanigans went on in the whole game, and I'm thinking, it's not me. I'm looking at a referee, and I don't like criticizing referees. I don't like that. But it was one of them things. He just didn't have the nerve to go against the big team. I don't think Atwell's got previous for that over a long time.
I think he wanted to try and let the game flow in times, but I think the pressure of the home crowd got to him as well. Maybe,
yeah.
I'm not a fan of Atwell. Really, I'm not. I don't think he's a great referee, and I think it was a poor decision by the Premier League to stick a referee in a game which meant so much to both teams. It's not just about. There wasn't just the local pride. It was like that stupid question that Jürgen got asked at the start by the Sky Sports presenter. And does the fact that this mean if Everton drop points and Liverpool drop points, it means a big thing on the league position? No, it's the Merseyside derby. It doesn't matter whether we're playing for something or not. It'll always mean something to us. It's. I don't know. It's just a really stupid comment, and I think it's where we've got to. I don't know.
I'm just going to pick up with what Josh has said there, because actually that's a really good point as well. Because actually, if you stop the clock and you allow the decision to be made properly, none of this drawing lines and all that shenanigans for offside and all that, that's not clear and obvious. But if you stop the clock and you actually have that conversation on the earpiece or on the monitor and you talk somebody through it, surely, if you get to that stage where, like in NFL, the correct decision is arrived at, courtesy of a little bit of dialogue rather than the game sort of carrying on. Don't know. There's no right or wrong, because I would hate for there to be massive stoppages in the game of football. It's one of them ones, isn't it?
I think what I want to do, though, John, is we've spoken now for 20 minutes on the negative side of the game. Yeah,
and we've not even talked about whether Mane should have been sent off either.
Oh well, it was a poke in the eye. It was a poke in the eye, and we don't want to talk about the Charlatan either, and whether he wants to get married to the Anfield pitch. You know what I mean? Or
Bambi on ice.
He had an eyelash on his face. He was just taking it off. That's all.
Yeah,
that's what he was doing.
I would not condone anything. I would never ever condone anything Richarlison does.
No.
He spends far too much time on his backside, and when he does, and somebody kicked him, if you notice, he always holds his head.
Yeah.
So it's not stupid. So he'll hold his head so that he thinks that the game will stop, and that's wrong. That's completely wrong. He was the source of that melee in the first half, where he was on the deck. The Liverpool fans actually were on the back of your team trying to make sure that they didn't kick the ball out of play. Decore then went in and took a yellow card, and it was stupid because actually he took a yellow basically because Richarlison was sitting on his backside, having basically been breathed on again. He did it. He did it in the Leicester game on Wednesday night. It annoyed the life out of me on Wednesday.
They didn't hear Anfield. They heard me from America screaming, "Don't you kick that ball out!"
Yeah.
I try to get behind. I like whenever Everton's not playing Liverpool, I'm pulling for him. I don't mind them. But then they show Richarlison. I absolutely cannot stand him.
No,
but he's a big baby. They should get rid of him.
Yeah, he's an absolute rat. As far as I'm concerned, his antics today was just they were bad, John. I don't know what's getting supposed to.
Yeah, totally agree with that. I'm not going to defend him because I think it's undefensible.
So you got Decore, he ended up getting a yellow card. You got Mane, he got a red card because what it was is it wasn't just the players who were at it; it was the fans as well. Like you said there, John. He just had enough of his antics and said, "You know what? Get up, you divvy. You've been hit in the knee. You can get tackled in the ankle, and he will, like you said, John, he'll hold his head, thinking the referee goes, "Oh." Even the referee looked at him a couple of times and went, "Just carry on." And then that's when Decore lost lost the plot a little bit because he thought his mate was down, injured. He doesn't see what he's doing. But let's move on from that side of the game because for me, I was made up to see a derby, a real what I would class a real good derby. You know, I see a game that wasn't like picking lumps out of each other all the time, but you know, having a good game. I thought Everton did themselves proud today, especially in that first half. I thought, because I think going into this game and everyone's going and listen to Neville, you know, Liverpool are this and Liverpool are that, and you really got
Yeah.
we are one of the best teams in the world. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah, totally agree.
Everton are struggling, but this is the Merseyside derby, John. I'm sorry, this is the Merseyside. You don't. Form goes out the window, always has done. It's always gone out the window.
Yeah.
And I thought in the first half, and I'm with you, Charlie, in your comments, you know, Keita were in there, you know, Thiago wasn't in it, the balance didn't look right. I thought we were losing the midfield battle a lot in the first half. And that wasn't just down to those two guys playing ball. That was down to the fight and the desire to go and take the game to Liverpool.
Well, I said at the beginning of the season,
but you know,
at the beginning of the season, I said if Everton played every team like they play Liverpool, they're mid-table easy.
Yeah,
but they don't bring it every game.
You did
to switch off. Totally agree with that.
And this is the thing I worry for you guys, John, is you're not playing Liverpool next week. You're playing someone else. And it literally could be Man City or Watford. I can't remember what your fixtures are.
It's Chelsea. It's Chelsea next weekend, I think. So.
It is Chelsea.
You're not going to put the performance you did this week. And that's the sad thing. And I think the pundits over in the UK hit on that, John, at the end was, you know, where's this fight and desire for the shirt when you're not playing Liverpool? Because you're not playing Liverpool every week. You're in the Champions League every season.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you a point that really got it for me as well. Anthony Gordon went, I think it was, he took Keita on the left-hand wing. He was in the second half.
Yeah.
He took Keita on. He went along. Arnold come across and just took him out and quite rightly got a yellow card. And Seamus Coleman got hold of him and pointed to the Everton badge, went, come on, more of that. Where have we seen that the rest of the season, John? Where is it?
Yeah, that's spot on. Spot on. And I've got to, that's what they need. They need, and you know, Seamus Coleman is a right back who should have been replaced 3-4 years ago, and he hasn't been. And he's the only one that really does. He absolutely does care. You know, Sarah, totally agree with that. Totally agree. You know,
Sarah, the only time there hasn't been derby days is when Liverpool's got relegated. Everton's never ever been relegated from the top flight.
Yeah.
They would have found a member of the top flight, and they've never been out. Or have you, John? Have you been out?
We did 1957, 58, something like that. So before my days. I hasten to add before I age myself and things like that.
So you were just at puberty then, weren't you, John?
I wasn't even a glimmer on my dad's zip, I tell you.
So I have a question for you guys for the Everton Chelsea game. Do you think Frank Lampard might be able to pull anything out to get them excited for the Chelsea games, seeing he was a former Chelsea man himself, right?
I think the advantage there, Charlie, is we're at home, and I would say that given the reaction today of the players at Anfield, and given the fact that you've just got to, like Burnley did, you've got to win your home games. There's no two ways about it. You've just got to win those home games, and then if we don't, it's a no-brainer. Next week we have to win. It's, you know, and it doesn't matter who it is. We could be playing Real Madrid, but
Chelsea are not looking that great. Chelsea, they don't have the defense that Man City or Liverpool have.
Yeah, they've stuttered. I think one of the interesting things with Chelsea, and I think this was again, they were fortunate today because actually they were at home to West Ham, and again they win 1-0. Don't think by all accounts they didn't play particularly great. West Ham had Dawson sent off on 86th minute, and then they scored. Your man Pulisic, who is he's just warming himself up for that England USA game, isn't he? But in some ways, that was Chelsea, the home spirit and that home sort of desire of the crowd, and that's what we need. And I think, to be honest, it's the one thing that we've got going for us. We've got one game in hand now on Burnley.
Talking about your England team should probably be looking into replacing Maguire with Gomez. Maguire's looking very, very poor.
I tell you what, Man United are looking at replacing Maguire with anyone.
I know.
Anyone, it could be anyone who takes the boots to Old Trafford. I think I'll get a game before Maguire at the minute.
Alison, that's a good question there, John. I think he's aiming it towards yourself there, mate. Lampard will stay if Everton and get relegated.
I think he will, Harrison, and I think he will because he knows the Championship better than he knows the Premier League. And also, we can't afford to pay off another manager. It's one of those really horrible things. He's been very clever as Lampard because he actually brought a really big backroom team with him, with the likes of Ashley Cole, Paul Clement, who was assistant manager at Chelsea, to I think it was Ancelotti, and then Mourinho, who then went and became manager at Derby. It didn't kind of work out. He's a fantastic coach, but he's brought lots and lots of these players, ex-players in, and I think we can't afford to get rid of them all. So if we go down, they'll have to stay, and they'll have to get us back up again. It goes without saying. I think the other side to that is I still think that there's a lot of movement in the backroom team at Everton that still needs doing, and I think it'll be Duncan Ferguson will end up going before Lampard, which is a shame, but he's putting the cones out now. He's not doing any. He's not influencing games. He's basically there because the board want him to be there, and you get to that stage and you're thinking, nah, that's not right either. Just like David Unsworth, who's the under-23s manager, former player. And there's a lot of former players who are hangers on at Everton. But Unsworth's decided he's moving on as well in the summer. And I think there needs to be that clear out of all the people who've just been there for, player. We'll put you on a coaching staff. But they never seem to move and they never seem to go anywhere else. We still keep paying them. And there needs to be that complete change in mentality. And, and I think Lampard's done well, because he's covered his bases. He's put in, Ashley Cole has been a really astute signing because he's made Mykolenko, the Ukrainian left back, who looked a bit of a nightmare on his debut. But he's basically, I think he's being coached so well that he's making him look an absolute steal. I think we paid 19-20 million for him. He's making him look like a proper footballer. So, yeah, I think Frank's got to stay. I don't think we've got any choice. If Frank wants to go elsewhere, then it'll have to be Frank deciding he's going elsewhere. Unfortunately, because the money, by the time if we get relegated, the money's not going to be there.
I dare say this next comment, John, because I think we've said this comment a few times on this show, and it seems to have been the sword that's everyone who we've said it for has ended up getting the job.
Yeah.
Everton shouldn't be looking at getting rid of the man. He should be giving them a chance and giving the backing behind it. We've said it again. We said it for Rafa Benitez.
We did, yeah.
We said it for who was the other manager? We said it for another club. I'm trying to remember now. But we said
it wasn't Steve Bruce. I know that.
It wasn't Steve Bruce. It definitely was Sam Allardyce. But we were definitely talking. I think it was. I'll tell you, the Spurs manager. He was the Spurs manager.
Yeah.
From Wolves. I forget his name now. But Bruno, what's his name? He's gone up my head.
Yeah.
Santos or something like that.
Yeah. No one is at Spurs. But actually, if you go back to last season, around about December, January last season, when we were still doing this show way back then and having a good chat about football and stuff like that. But we were we were quite annoyed that Lampard had been given the chop from Chelsea, and they brought this lad Tuchel in, who then suddenly decided. Charlie, that's not.
I'm sorry to the host listener, but
I think it looks like this. Sorry.
Brilliant.
Sorry.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about that. Sorry, again, before you go to, I don't know what it is with that word at the end, but I always say it in my head, even in my head, in an American accent, I say "good talk."
It's from what's
Something that goes in my head.
it's a film thing, isn't it? It's,
To be honest with you, Charlie, it was a great question, but personally, I don't want to know the answer.
yeah. Yeah.
Go on, John. Sorry.
No, that's all. No, I was just out. I'm not even going to go there with what's on his backside. I tell you, it's just, if it was Richarlison, it'd be a big cross. Kick here, kick here, and make sure you don't miss.
Yeah. So, yeah. There's so many talking points in that game today, and I think I've got a list, and I think we've ticked a few off already. Do you know what I mean? And the one thing I want to pick up from a Liverpool point of view, and there's a couple of points really. One of them is like Divock Origi. I think that's the last derby he's going to play in. I think you'll be made up, John. You know. But
I've got to admit, I did have a little look on the old Paddy Power, but the odds of Origi scoring first goal, last goal, or any time soon was just like it wasn't even worth putting a quid on. It was just like they knew he was going to score. It was like it was nailed on. It was nailed on to happen today. You know, it was just like it just wasn't even worth having a bet on. And you just knew we knew. When he came on, it was just that you could hear our house. You could hear everyone's eyes rolling because it was like, oh no, here we go. He's going to come on and he's going to score again because you just know it just happens every flipping time. It annoys the life out of me. It really does.
It's going to be in their selling contract. When they sell him, he has to come back for every Everton game.
I think you put out in our text, didn't you, Charlie? It's the fact that basically, why not just sign him up for 2 games a season? If Everton stay up, sign him up 2 games a season. There you go. You're sorted there, lad. When we'll even let you start. You'll be all right.
We'll even let you start. The thing you start, see, for me, Origi has been one of them players for Liverpool where I was saying to my missus today while we were watching the game, saying, I don't want to see him go, but he's gone already. We know he's gone. He's already gone. Because for me, he's like, we have cult heroes at Liverpool, right? And at most clubs, you have cult heroes, don't you? I mean, and I think of the cult heroes that Liverpool have had in the past, like Eric Meyer and stuff like that, who was just a nutter.
Yeah.
Divock Origi isn't a nutter. He's a good forward. The problem with Divock Origi is he doesn't fit the now Liverpool style of play. When he come in, he did, but now you had to change your manager and Jürgen come in, and he's got different. He doesn't play with a striker. He doesn't play with an out striker. You know, so it's a shame for him because when he comes on, he always does the business, and it takes a special type of player to be able to come onto a game and pick up the pace straight away.
But you've got to, from an external point of view, and I know he always scores against us. Okay, I take that's taken as read. But you look at what he has been part of, and what it doesn't matter where he goes to next. It's never gonna live up to what he's actually achieved and what he's actually managed to do. I think it's there you go. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, he's 6 and 10 games. That's shocking. But wherever he goes, I just think he'll look back at his time at Liverpool, and that's just going to be such an amazing part of a career where, when he's old, he'll sit down and he'll just go, yeah, I won Champions League. I won the Premier League. and I was part of a club, and he has been a massive influence.
He'll go
Even
down.
if it's just coming off the bench, it's just like you'd put him up with I was Ian Fairclough in the 70s at Liverpool, super sub.
Super sub being Fairclough, he was the same.
Yeah,
the thing is,
yeah.
John,
But I've got in this day and age, I think Origi's done absolutely amazingly well, and I don't know. I just think for you guys, I wouldn't mind if he wants to come to Everton. He can. It'll mean at least we don't get scored against the 2 games in a season.
You're not having him. I can't see him in a blue shirt.
No, I can't. Blue's not his colour, is it? Blue's not his colour.
I can be as unbiased as I can with the conversation, but there's absolutely no way. As much as I respect the decision to leave Liverpool, and he does need to leave Liverpool because he's 27. He's he's in this prime of his life. He needs to go and play regular football. He's not going to get that at Liverpool. I'm gutted
to be honest, he could go. I actually think he'd go if he went to somewhere, Italy, and especially because of his physical prowess and because I think he's really worked on that in the past 2-3 seasons. Because I think he lost a lot of weight and he has to become a much more mobile centre forward. And you look at what the job that Lukaku did in Italy for Inter. I think he could go to a team in Italy and be very, very successful because of the type of player that he is.
I was going to say that there. It's in his blood. He would score all goals against them.
Thing is, Sarah, the worst thing of all is we've got enough players at the minute who can score OGs. Just at the drop of that, so look at the whole of that back four and everything they've got of how many own goals, particularly Michael Keane and Mason Holgate have managed to accrue a great number of own goals between them. So
before we make this about the total Merseyside derby show, I know we're they've got 2 Liverpool fans and Everton fans. There's one thing I wanted to pick on, one more thing, mate.
Yeah.
Is that you get onto the Liverpool fans getting a bit irate with Jordan Pickford because he grabbed the ball and he just falls to the floor. He grabbed the ball.
You're going to talk about Alice
right
taking
from
the mick out of it. I'm going to say that was. Big respect. I got big respect for Alisson for doing that. I just thought that was that wonderful moment of the goalkeepers' union, of one goalkeeper at the other end of the pitch giving the big finger to the other lad at the other end, and I just thought that was.
That's exactly what I told Sophie. She was watching on the couch with me, and she was laughing her head off. She was like, "That's exactly what he's doing there." And then the announcer pretty much said the same thing.
Yeah, but we were screaming at the telly and saying, "Alisson, stand up and give a wink and a smile to the Everton fans now, like Jordan did just before the end of the
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I've got to say, and you know something, that's why the derby's such a fantastic game, because you can do that. You can actually have that level of a crack between 2 sets of players, 2 sets of fans, and it actually. Yeah, and we can take it. And I've got to say, I wasn't looking forward to doing this show tonight because I thought it was, like I said earlier, I'm at probably my lowest point as an Everton fan. But I've got to accept that, that to me was a really funny moment. And I give Alisson his due because he gets it. He actually gets exactly what was going on. I love that.
I see where you're getting there, John, about you being nervous and that. But you remember, John, we're of a generation. I mean, you 2 guys are a generation above me, right? But you think
Okay.
I still remember, John, going standing in the car, sitting in the car next to Everton fans, and I also remember going to the Gladstone Street as a Liverpool fan and standing and sitting next to the Everton fans. In the Merseyside derby because it was dubbed the friendly derby. I don't know what's happened over the years. I don't know what's gone on, but now it's definitely Everton fans don't mix with Liverpool fans. The Liverpool fans don't.
It's not like it was. It's definitely not like it was.
It got very bitter. And to be honest with you, John, I'd say I would love to see it go back there because at the end of the day, I've got my brother who's not with us no more. He was a Blue. you know.
Yeah.
We've got, you know, you go into Sarah's family, they're predominantly red, but there's some blues in there. You know, you go into friends' family, and in yours family, John, I'm sure you'll find your family, and you can literally have it where you've got. And I know my mate who's up in Cumbria as well, who's from Liverpool. Him and his missus from Liverpool. He's a red, she's a blue.
Yeah.
Two lads, one's a red, one's a blue. You know, so it's literally split down the middle. So to have that hatred and that animosity towards the other set of fans,
I can't put my finger on exactly when that actually happened. I was at the Milk Cup final in, was it 84?
Oh, you're going
84, 85. Yeah, exactly. But it was the first time Everton and Liverpool had played at Wembley against each other.
84,
and it was just
one of the
and it was the most beautiful feeling, because actually there was no segregation. You were sat, it was just red and blue all the way around the old Wembley. And at that particular moment, it was a true Merseyside moment. And it was just the coming together of a city and a coming together of fans, and showing, after all that had gone on through the 70s politically, of where we were as people, and actually putting the city of Liverpool on the map, and in a sporting sense. And what came after that was something so special from an Everton perspective, and then latterly then from a Liverpool perspective as well. But it was just one of those things that you look back on, and that was the pinnacle of that sort of that friendly derby bit. What has gone on since, and certainly what's gone on in the past, certainly the past 5 to 10 years, is just I don't want to be part of it. I don't think it's healthy, and I don't think it's good for the city.
No,
it's not good for the city of Liverpool, and it's not. It's something that has to change. It has to revert back to where it was.
Yeah, you talk about the '84 Cup final, Milk Cup final day.
Yeah.
Now known as the Carabao Cup. Now it's the League Cup final, isn't it?
For
me, I'm going back. That's 1984. You know, I'm talking. I remember that, but only of a sense of. It was the first time I ever seen all the Liverpool and Everton flags around the city, around people's houses.
Yeah.
For me, what you're talking about there, about the fans coming together as one city. My big moment was the 1989 FA Cup final. You know, right after the Hillsborough disaster.
Yeah.
Seeing that and the fans doing that, and I remember it was all there. And I was only a kid watching it on the telly. You know, I was only a 12-year-old little one. You know. Watching it on the telly.
There you go, Charlie. Look, he's showing off about his age again. You know,
I am, yeah.
You can't resist. You can't resist every single show, any time, Charlie. Just keep watching. I'm younger than you guys. There you go.
You'll never
write it down. Write it down.
The old cowboy shit singing "You'll Never Walk Alone" during the national anthem.
Yeah,
during the national anthem, because. I don't know whether you realise, Charlie, but many people from the city of Liverpool do not class themselves as English. I'm going to say this out on the live, but we are English.
Yeah.
We're proud of the country, but we have that sense of being separate from the rest of the country. It's very deep, and I'll get into it one day with you, of why that is. But it was a real touchy moment for me at that time, because seeing that as a young lad, and the people going through what they went through, I didn't understand at the time. And then the city coming together, that for me was the moment I realised, you know, the city is just one city. We've got two amazing football clubs, but we're one people. And that's what we are. We always will be.
And we've got one set of fans who can walk to the game, and there's another set of fans who have to fly.
Yes, and that's the Welsh coming.
Sorry, couldn't resist. Couldn't resist.
What's that? You know, Norwegian would be son.
There you go. So I might be having a really rubbish day, but I've been waiting all day to put that one in.
Yeah, I always remember going to a game, a derby game at Goodison Park, and I didn't even say a word, and this Evertonian come up to it, Eugen. And I went, please, and I'm from here.
My cousin had a bunch of Irish lads behind him at the game today, so and they were Liverpool fans. He was in the incorrect end. I'll put it that way.
Charlie's looking with a blank face there, Charlie. What it is, right, is Norway is full of Liverpool fans, and what you get at Anfield is a lot of Irish and a lot of Norwegian. So the Everton fans like to take the mickey out of us. It's like this local thing.
Okay, yeah.
You're not from the city of Liverpool. You're all from Norway. You're all from Ireland, and what we throw back at them is, but you're all from Wales.
No, they're all from North Wales. Yeah.
Local little vibe.
All the ones from North Wales now support Man United. I think that's the other side of it.
Well, they're all closet monks anyway. We know that.
Yeah,
we know that. Yeah. Hey, we haven't. It's nearly 50 minutes gone, right? And we haven't the top four, because I want to get into Man United and I want to give them down the banks because we absolutely annihilated them in the midweek. So let's talk the last 10 minutes. Let's talk about the top four. Let's talk about the chances of the top four, because for me, guys, I'm telling you now, I've got this vision in my head. I think on the final day of the season, we could literally be looking at where over the last few years, God knows how long, it's probably since Aguero did the Aguero goal, where we got the final day, title.
Yeah.
Relegation. We could have a relegation battle, we could have a title battle, and we could have a top four battle.
I'll stop you there.
Final day.
The relegation battle won't happen because we're away at Arsenal last game this season, so I've written that game off already. That's just like I'm not even going there. I'm not even going there. If we go to the last game of the season, I just dread to think where I will have to be, because I will not be able to listen to it or watch it or anything like that. I might even have to book myself in for an afternoon of working, something like that. I can't do it.
I've got to go to John.
Yeah.
Why don't you come to mine and watch it?
Yeah. I couldn't. I really, Stephen. I honestly, I couldn't. I struggled today with my kids. I really struggled.
Yeah. Because
I'm that much down the line of where I think that we're going to go, and I don't want to push that across on my kids. But they're still of that age where they've still got that that vitality of, it's all right. I'm nervous, but we'll get out of it. I'm not. I'm done. I'm the glass. I'm worse than Nick. My glass is now empty anymore. It's just drained.
When was your kids born? Anyway, when was your kids born?
The eldest is 18, and the youngest is So they've never seen us win it. They've never seen us win a trophy. That's the saddest thing.
But the thing is, the reason I like that is because they haven't had to suffer it since 1995, like you have, son.
And I did notice that flag that went up in the cop this afternoon as well.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, and that was Scouse humour at its best, wasn't it? Big, massive white bed sheet, 1995. There you go. Nothing else. That was just, there you go. With a big two fingers up at you. There you go. Anyway, there's been other games this weekend. I do believe. I do believe. And again, can I just quickly say, well done to Burnley, because they beat Wolves, and I was hoping that they didn't.
Move on, John. Move on, quick. Move on. Come on, move on, lads. Come on.
Right. So
that one. Come on. Yeah. Man United. Let's all laugh at Man United now. Come on, for the next 5 minutes, let's all laugh at Man United, right? Because Man United come to Anfield.
I don't even think it's worth laughing, Stephen. I am absolutely aghast at what's coming out of Man United. McTominay got sent out to do the presser after the game yesterday, and Scott McTominay's not the greatest of mouthpieces that is in that dressing room, yet he comes out to do the press conference and then alludes to there's bigger issues further on that is out with the dressing room, and it's further up. And I'm like, whoa, I wasn't expecting it from him, because surely they've all done the press training, and whereby they all turn around and say, yeah, we're just trying very hard as a group of players to get as many points as we can as soon as we can, and we want to be in Europe. Now, he went over the top, and I just thought, that's fab, because there's some serious stuff going on at United that we'll only get to find out about when Ronaldo and Fernandes write their autobiographies.
Yeah.
And then to add it, they've just announced that they've got a new manager for next season before this season's even finished. So it's just
But this is what we were talking about when they got rid of Ollie in the early in the season. So we knew Ragnick was only coming in temporarily and you're going to get a new manager in. Why don't you just get him now? Well, if you had Ten Hag to begin with, to start with, well, why not just get him signed up before he come in and get all that?
But would he not be in the same? He'd be in the same boat as Rangnick though, because Rangnick came in with a half decent CV. He was going to do the rest of the season. If it all went well, hey, we'll keep you on. But I'm thinking, hang on a minute. This will be a blot on his CV.
Did he sign?
And is this what United are going to do to everyone? Because to be honest with you, if you go by the quality of Dutch players, and I'll go back down my line about Davy Klaassen when he came to Everton, Dutch players, when they come into the Premier League, take an awful lot of time to adjust. Now, if you're at Man United, it doesn't matter if you're Ten Hag or anything like that. If you take it a lot of time to adjust to your system coming into play, and United are in that bottom six, to be on the phone to Ollie again, I tell you, because if they'd have kept hold of him, I don't think United would have still been in the position they are this season. I think they'd probably be third or fourth.
I just don't see where Man United go. But
no,
I don't. I said that about Liverpool 10 years ago. Where do we go? Particularly after the 13-14 season, where we go.
Yeah.
But things change, but it takes time. And as long as they're going to get the manager the back, and then that's all that a club can never do is get the manager the back. For me, I don't know you, Charlie. I watched the game in midweek, and I just thought Liverpool, as good as Liverpool are, right, and we've got to take Liverpool and City, and it's not. We've got to take them two teams, just see them. They're in the group over here on their own in the world football at the minute.
Yeah.
Everyone else is over here. And I get you're playing a team from over here and that, but like Everton showed today, you can play a team over here and still give them a fight. United didn't do that in any moment in that game. Liverpool were allowed to just pass it about. They gave us the freedom to express ourselves. If you give a team like Liverpool or City space and time to express themselves, they're going to express themselves and they're going to destroy you. And that's what happened to United, especially in the first half. We were woeful. Second half, they did a little bit better, but there was just no fight. There was no desire there. It's like Jamie Carragher said in his commentary in the UK, he covered it there. He said, if that was him in one of his poor Liverpool teams playing United, who would win every time, all they were thinking, just to stop United winning the league. That's just do their stopping United winning the league. But there was none of that. And there's been a great meme come out, and it's Maguire talking to the referee, walking along the referee, talking to him, and it goes, "Hey ref, have you got a new ball?" And the ref goes, "Why? What's wrong with the one you've got?" "Well, Liverpool are playing with that one." It's funny, but it's also sad because, like I've said before on this show, one, I don't want Everton to get relegated. Don't want them to get relegated. I really don't. For me, I joke and say, "Oh, get the quadruple and never get relegated." If Carlsberg did, But in all honesty, I don't want Everton getting relegated, and I don't want Man United falling by the wayside by that, because the rivalry, the challenging of the titles that we're having with City at the minute is great to watch as football, but for me, it doesn't have that added spice. I would rather have it with Everton or Man United to go on into one of them two teams. Personally, me, because
it's a really good. That's a great point, Stephen, because that's between the two games. You look at the game today, and you would have expected United to come out and have given Liverpool that type of game. They didn't. United basically never turned up. I think the stats were, I think they had 28% possession and only 2 shots in the whole game on Tuesday night, and that was just so it was embarrassingly lame, And I think a lot of United fans are just at that particular moment. You look at the team that they had, and you're thinking, where do you go next? You know, I'm not looking particularly at where Liverpool were at, because actually after the FA Cup semi-final, where with against City, actually Liverpool should have been absolutely knackered on Tuesday night, and United never even asked a question of them. Never asked a question.
No.
And that's to me, that's quite shocking, really. And I've got to say that's. I think I'd love to have a conversation with some United fans about it, because I'd love to see the players that they would like to see leave, because I think they've got, again, similar to where Arsenal were before Arteta turned up. They've got an awful lot of players who play in exactly the same role, and somebody needs to come in and clear that out. So
on the bonus side of you saying Arsenal, the bonus side of United is they're not in the position Arsenal were in when Arteta took over. Arsenal were really poor. They were like they were like 9th, 8th and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So for me, they're competing with. I think their top 4 chances are completely gone this weekend. They've gone. They got beat by Arsenal the weekend. I mean, that penalty from Bruno Fernandes, what the hell was that? He was given a little bit of a shuffle going up to it, and then and it's the back. You know, it was this nice one, but at the same time, you know, you still got to defend. You still got to stop them shots going in towards your goal that they had.
Yeah,
I just don't see them getting top 4. And Tottenham, I think they're failing to deceive towards the end of the season as well. And West Ham, they got beat today by Chelsea. So I think 4 is looking ominous, guys, isn't it? It's looking like Arsenal for me for top 4.
You would think so, because actually Spurs in particular, I know if Nick's watching this on the catch up, then I actually think Tottenham had a massive chance yesterday, because they were playing Brentford. It needed to be that statement, and admittedly I've got Son and Kane in my fantasy league team, and they've let me down badly. But Tottenham, they play Leicester next week, then they got Liverpool away, then they play Arsenal. And I'm thinking, hang on, you know, Spurs really need to stand up and actually make a point of do they want it? Because at the minute, it looks to me as if Arsenal look as if they want it.
Yeah,
it just depends. It just depends which Arsenal turns up on the day, because but they dug out a result in midweek as well, and I've got to say that was a fantastic game of football. For Arsenal to win away at Chelsea, you've got to. I don't know. I'm not an Arsenal fan, but flipping, I can't remember Arsenal going to Stamford Bridge and eking out a result like that many times in the past probably 10 years or something. And Arteta actually made another decision. He wasn't going to play Lacazette as well, and he started with Eddie Nketiah, who then scored twice. Smith Rowe scored, Saka scored, and Azpilicueta of Chelsea then decided to have a row with a Chelsea fan on the way out. If anyone wants a little bit of entertainment, and you've got this far in the show, next time you watch any Chelsea game, have a look how many empty seats there are. Just saying, because actually that's an embarrassment. And I know they're not allowed to sell single game tickets, but hang on a minute. We've been told that place is sold out on season ticket sales and stuff like that. There's an awful lot of people not turning up at Chelsea. So, don't know. Just say.
Chelsea have them restrictions on them, John. But what? Yeah. If you look at a club that's embarrassing, it's City. It's Man City. It's embarrassing. They don't sell the crowd out. They don't sell the home ground out. And then there was the FA Cup semi-final where they had to buy that big flag.
The big flag to fill the gap.
They did. That's what they did. It's embarrassing, you know. But let's not get there. But I think in the next few weeks we've got an exciting few weeks in the Premier League. We've got the relegation battle, and don't forget we've talked about Everton and Burnley tonight in the relegation battle. Leeds are there. Leeds are in this battle as well. They're not out of it, and they're in touch.
I don't think they know about that yet, and I think their game tomorrow night against Palace is an absolutely vital one.
Palace
because
I think I'm going to put me. I'd put, a betting man. I'd stick money on Palace winning that.
Yeah,
but we know the Premier League, anything can chain up and stuff like that.
To such an anything could happen to such an extent that we've got Newcastle pressing for Newcastle are top 10.
Yeah. So see, this is the thing. This is the thing as well. Do you know when you're talking about going for the title, right? At Liverpool City, right?
Yeah.
I never once for the first couple of games thought City had dropped points and they haven't, right?
Yeah.
I can bet you any kind of money. City fans were looking at the first 2 games that Liverpool had to go. They're going to drop points there. Man United never. I know they're at home.
Yeah.
Derby. The one I've always been worried about. Yes, it's always Everton. It always will be Everton.
Yeah.
You know, Man United coming to us, the following. I had more confidence than anything. I've never been so confident going to a Man United game as I did when we ended the midweek. Everton's always different. So that aside, it was the next game, Newcastle away. That's the one that's a real banana skin for us because they have turned the corner. Since January, they have turned the corner, started to play well. Yes, we are over here in one of the best teams in the world. However, they're going to give a fight, and they're not crap players. You know, they are good players. They can play.
Yeah.
You know, that's the banana. So we can get past Newcastle. I'll be more confident. It's the games I've always looked at for City is possibly the next one they've got, which is Leeds away, and West Ham away.
It's the West Ham one for me. I think the Leeds one, Stephen, is between the 2 Real Madrid games in the Champions League, and I think that's maybe where that gets a little bit strung out. But City have got Newcastle at home after the second Madrid game, and then they go away to West Ham. There's everything that'll still change. Everything's still to play for, and.
Another thing that can come into it is like the psychological side of it as well. If you actually look at the fixtures, right, our gap in the Champions League comes after City's gap. So we could actually be above City.
I love that. I love this. And you were saying about me being conspiracy theorist earlier in the show and all that. And you go to that extent of like, we get an extra day's rest. An extra day's rest. There we go. Sorted.
It's not
love it.
It's not conspiracy. It's their gaps here and then our gaps there, right? Oh no, our gaps there. No, their gaps there and our gaps there. By the time we get there, we could be above them. You know, at that point. The time, we could go, you know what, City? It's on you. Come on, son. Let's have it.
Yeah.
Can't beat. I love it as a fan. Particularly as a Liverpool fan, and Charlie, I want your thoughts before we sign off on here tonight, right?
Yeah.
Is you think of our season, right? We're going on all 4 fronts all the way through, right? It's unprecedented, really, because no manager's ever got to the final of the League Cup, FA Cup, and the Champions League final, or the semi-final of all 3 in one season, in the same season, right? We've got to the final of 2 of them. We potentially get to another final one. But we're fighting for the title as well. I mean, every single game is a cup final game. We've had one cup final. We've got another cup final in like I think it's the 13th to 14th of May against Chelsea in the FA Cup final. Then we've got the semi-final in the Champions League coming up. We've got all the league games, which are basically cup finals, and then we've got the potentially Champions League final. Every single game now, we've got 10 games left now, and every single one of them is a cup final. How intense is that? I mean, for me, I love it. I actually love this as a fan. I'm looking forward to it. Nervous as hell on every single game. I think I need to take a double dose of me high blood pressure tablets every game. How do you feel about it, Charlie? What's your thoughts on all that? Like, how do you cope with it? How do you see it?
Is it 10 games or 9 games now after today?
I think it's 10, potentially 10. Potentially 10. Because if we get through the semi-finals of the Champions League, it's another game, isn't it?
Yeah. I again, I think it's doable. It's really not something I've been dwelling on. The thing is, you've been noticing on some of the key games that the thing that I'm more concerned about is some of the highly anticipated games or highly hyped up games by the press. Some of our players have been lackluster, or they've been falling to nerves, subject to nerves, like Alexander Arnold for one, definitely.
Yeah.
Keita too, probably. But I'd be worried about. I'd want Klopp to talk to them and say, "Yo, just go play and have fun and stop worrying," because when you're worrying, you're playing really bad anyway. So just the heck with it, just play, and maybe that'll relieve a little bit of stress or whatnot. Or hey, maybe you got to give them a break. Play Gomez once in a while, or Tsimikas or whatever. Get those guys get some rotation in there. Maybe they're totally dependable people. They're not. There's not a big difference between some of those players. Trent's obviously a lot more offensive than a more offensive asset than Gomez, but defensive wise, Gomez might be better. But he's got to. I think it's doable. Again, if there's only 10 games left, it's not a big stretch anymore, and they have been doing rotations, and they've been still finding ways to win. I think Klopp has to take a good look at who is running hot right now and play those guys. Jota's cooled down. He is cooled down. I like Diaz brings a lot more fear from the other team. They're fearing him. He has a lot of spunk, and I love that cross that you guys catch that cross that he settled with his foot behind his other leg there. That was like,
that was beautiful.
That was sweet. I was like, oh, right in the middle of the game too. It's like, that was sweet. But that's what they need to bring, though. They need to bring the fun. They need to bring, okay, man, we're still here. This is why we love playing the game. This is why we love watching the game. That's what they need to bring. They need to bring the hot players in. And if some people are getting too wrapped up in the game, maybe give them a break. Build up their desire a little bit more, saying, okay, well, if I'm going to be scared and play really bad, then I'd rather play, and maybe they need to reset that in their brain. And
Charlie, I would also add as well, and I think this is goes against the grain in some respects, because Klopp has held his nerve psychologically so far, and I think that's one of his real strengths. Whereas even the FA Cup semi-final, I felt City played the wrong team to start with, and gave the advantage to Liverpool, and I really felt that at that point, should things come to a head between the two sides, I think once again, like he's done in the Champions League on a number of occasions, Pep overthinks stuff. Klopp doesn't. He just puts out, and like today, I thought he'd send out a much weaker side today than he did, but he nailed it today. He absolutely got that tactically right and played the correct team that he felt was gonna win the game. And I think that's where you guys, I think, have got a little bit of an advantage in the next certainly the next 3-4 weeks.
I think you're right, especially in the cup games days. I think even Guardiola admitted that before in an interview before the semi-final. He overthinks things. He says he overthinks it. And I think you're right. And I think this will be the season where City's and Liverpool's rivalry really cements, because, in all honesty, and I'm looking at the semi-finals, no disrespect to Villarreal and no disrespect to Real Madrid, I only see two teams going to the final. I really do. I could be proven wrong, and I touch wood that I don't. Do you know what I mean? Because no disrespect to Villarreal are very capable of knocking the pill out. Very capable. Very, very capable. And Real Madrid, while they're not capable, they just seem to be doing it. But I just see
it's that Ancelotti effect, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's not the Rafa Benitez.
No.
I know we've gone 15 minutes over already, but you saw the Scouse humour before, right? The Scouse humour about where the Liverpool fans started chanting Rafa Benitez after we went 1-0. He was just absolutely getting at it. It was brilliant. But yeah, I'm going to take a leaf out of your book, Charlie, and not dwell on it too much, because I think I probably dwell on the game too much. And I think I feel the pressure more than the players do. You know, I don't think, I can afford to lose too many tellies between now and me going on. But lads, we've gone over 15 minutes over time. Thanks for everyone for watching. I know we've gone over. We've had a lot to talk about. There's been loads to talk about, particularly with 2 Liverpool fans and an Everton fan.
Can I just say a massive thank you to you and Charlie as well, Stephen? Because actually, like I said earlier in the show, I really wasn't looking forward to this tonight. It's been probably one of the lowest days in Evertonian, but actually, it's just good to know that I've got 2 mates I can come online with. I can have a chat, and we can just sort of share that passion of football and actually understand that it doesn't matter. If you get relegated, you get relegated. If you win the league, you win the league.
John,
at the end of the day, it's still your football team. It'll still be your football team forever. So,
John, I appreciate the gratitude there, but there was really no need, mate. Honestly, this is the football therapy show. This is, like we say,
I'm beyond therapy, Stephen.
There's not many people who come and join us. It is just me, mate, talking about the 40. And if you remember back when it started 2 years ago, believe it or not, 2 years ago we started during the pandemic, right? And what did we dub it? It was about us coming in. It was like sitting down at the pub and having a chat about the footy. That's all it is. John, honestly, I'm not a bit of red. You're not a bit of blue. Charlie's not. Charlie wouldn't even know how to be a bit of red or a bit of blue because he's from the other side of the Atlantic. He's not been poisoned in that way, So
I just appreciate it tonight, guys. It's been one of them ones, but it's been good. And it's been good having a chat tonight as well.
We are mates, and I'll be honest with you, we are mates in this forum, and that's what we do. We just come in and talk about the football, we're good friends, and that's what it's about. And then, like Sarah says, it saves me chewing
Sums it up.
Anyway, and I'd like to throw Nick in the friendship circle in that. I know he doesn't come in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for getting involved. See you next week. See you later. Ta-ra.